Here's a step-by-step drawing tutorial for how to draw tails from Sonic the Hedgehog. First thing we'll do is start out with the basic circle. This is where his head will go. The next thing to do is his body, which basically is half the length of his head. So his body is tiny. It's just a little thing. Just kind of draw a circle out here for one hand, and then the other hand we'll have it be coming down here. This is just to get the proportions and the posing. And actually I'm just gonna tilt this body a little bit because he's flying at an angle. I like to draw the feet and hands first sometimes before drawing the limbs that connect to them. Sometimes it can just be a little bit easier to line things up. We'll go ahead and start sketching in the limbs that connect. Just coming up here to the wrist, we're gonna sketch in to the shoulder area. And then on this side, these tiny little skinny tube arms. And then the leg. And then this leg is kind of tucked in. And now let's go ahead and figure out the tails. So the tails are pretty big, kind of these curving shapes. And movie tails, just like movie Sonic, has a bunch of individual fluff. Like you could see the fuzziness of his character. Alright, so now let's go ahead and start getting some details in. For the hand, we'll just start sketching in the fingers. I like to start with the index finger first, since the index finger tends to lead the rest of the hand. Just kind of curves on the pad of the finger and is more straight on the back. Just gonna draw like a guideline, this arc shape, to help me place the fingers. Because fingers tend to flow in these arcing type shapes. And if you ever need to pause the video to catch up, you have my permission to do so. Pinky is gonna break away a bit from the hand, because if you have the fingers all perfectly lined up, it can be monotonous. So sometimes it's good to have one finger or two fingers just kind of doing their own thing. So now we'll get the thumb. The thumb is kind of more pointed at us in perspective, so this is the tip of the thumb. Draw in the little butt crack for the palm. And then the outer part of the glove wraps around his wrist like this. Just these simple little curving shapes. And now we'll come over to this hand, and I'm actually gonna make it kind of tilt down just a little bit more. This is something I like about drawing digitally. It's pretty easy to edit and correct your mistakes. So for this hand, we're gonna go ahead and start sketching in the fingers. These fingers that slope down. Basically the fingers start at the halfway point of the hand. So just keep that in mind. And then the thumb is gonna be coming out from the base of the hand. Like that. And we'll go ahead and draw his little wristband on. Just curves around the tubular arm. Like that. Now let's go ahead and do the feet. So I'm gonna draw the tubes first. Just like Sonic, it's like these squished donuts just wrapping around his ankles. When we get to Movie Tail's shoes, there's just a tiny bit more details that you didn't see in the video game versions of Tails. Now we're gonna go ahead and draw the back of the sneaker. It's just pretty straight, and then it curves around into a bulb towards the end of the shoe and curves around, kind of narrows a little bit into the ankle. We're gonna draw the white part, which is this dividing line that separates the white from the red on Tails' shoe. Like that. The sneaker has like this little curve here where the laces would go, and then these little holes. Curves around like a bulb. And we're gonna have this line tilting downwards just a tiny bit, and draw the little padding for where the laces would go. And now for his chest area, he has just like a patch of white fur. It just more or less follows the shape of his body. Curvy, long U shape underneath his neck like this. And then when we get in the line work, we can add some, sketchy lines to suggest the fur. And so for the tails part of Tails, we gotta add some white fur up here, a curving shape that follows the shape of his tail. And then over on this side, it's this curving shape. We'll add in the detail later. So now for Tails' face, basically his head is almost like a light bulb. So his forehead actually kind of gets bigger at the top like this. So it's not really a perfect circle. Actually, before I do this, I'm just gonna get the angle of his head, tilt, so we can know how to do this. So yeah, there's the tilt of his head, and then the angle, the horizontal angle line we'll draw here. And this just helps us get the placement of the eyes and nose and all the features. So now the head, like I said, is kind of like this light bulb. I guess because his brain is so big. Tails is very smart. I don't know if he's as smart as Dr. Robotnik, but he certainly has mechanical genius abilities. I bet if he had the resources of Robotnik, he could give Robotnik a run for his money. So now we're gonna get the eye in. So coming over here, his eye is like this kind of long, cartoony type long circle. And here's his eye, a long pupil like this. And we'll just draw a circle here, which is where we'll add the highlight when we color it. And the black part of the eye. It's kind of creepy with just one eye. But we'll come over here and start drawing the other eye. Now a lot of times when you're drawing characters with eyes, you'd space their eyes 3 eyes wide, so there'd be like 1 eye length in the middle. Tails' eyes are kind of close together, and it makes him kind of cuter, I think. Here's this eye, and we're gonna draw the pupil actually kind of tucking in to the side here, so it looks like he's looking at us with these kind of cute baby eyes. Just has a very innocent vibe. And eyes should be kind of lined up. Okay, so now for the nose, basically right here where these lines intersect is kind of where the nose would be, but his snout kind of pushes out a bit, so we draw his nose just a little bit under it. And it's basically just this triangle. So his cheeks basically have this fur that shoots out with like 3 or 4 main kind of spikes, almost like tiny Sonic the Hedgehog spikes, but they're really just tiny. They just kind of curve around like this. And then we'll go over to this side and add these ones. You can even add like a little bit inside, just a couple of these hair strands on the inside as well. Alright, and so now, sketch the chin in a little bit better. Now we'll do the mouth. So basically you can think of the mouth as kind of starting lined up right below the pupil. So it'd kind of start like right here, and you can have it end, lined up to this pupil as well. And we'll draw that line a little bit lower so you can kind of have like a smirk, and make the edge of his mouth just a little bit thicker. So his lips kind of thin in towards the middle, get thicker at this end. The ears are just these triangular shapes that come out from the outer edge of the head. Come up to a point and then just arc down like this. We'll add this ear over here. And basically the tips should follow this kind of arcing path. So that's how you can kind of line up where they would end. And now we're going to add Tails' hair, which is like this frontal mohawk situation going on. And it just kind of arcs out like this. And he has 3 main strands that come out. Basically his eyes are gonna be a little bit thicker at the top, and kind of draw this line that comes out from the eye a little bit. This kind of suggests some eyelashes in a way, or just gives the eyes a little bit more depth. And now I'm gonna do the line work and polish up all this stuff.